Hello, everyone, and a very, very happy new year. So this is, I thought I'd do a small video of where we are and, where the markets are. So let's do that. So this is where your RES is trading, at an all-time high. We made 48, 41.50. This was the all-time high it made. Recently, and the previous all-time high was 4808.25. So after it came back, this was a 50% test from this low to high, 50%, and then it consolidated for a few months, and then it broke out to this extension where it so in 2023, I guess this was July, August, yeah. So at that time, I had mentioned that we've reached an extension where ES likes the most, and it's a possibility of it falling down. And from there, and this was in my previous video, if you had seen, it was a bit long. So if you see, I wanted it to pull back here and test this. And if it did test and hold, then what it is gonna be, meaning will it test this again somewhere here, like from here to here, it'll test and then fall and try to come down, or we go and make a new all-time high. So we went up. It was a vicious rally after the low in October, and a vicious rally. It hit a new all-time high. And since then, we are consolidating and thinking. Now, the thing to note is ES made a new high, XPX and SPY has not. They are still operating under their previous all-time high. So this is your ES. Now, the thing is, I'd also mentioned, and in my thread, you could see my cycle analysis, which I put out in 2021, I had said once a certain number was taken out, it had reset the cycle to 7,569, of which we hit last time closer to the quarter of the half cycle to 4808. And from there, we puked. And now we are back again to the all-time highs, or near all-time high, to a little bit higher all-time high. And we are operating there. So 5185 makes the 50% cycle from this low to the actual cycle projection 7569. Your 5185 will be 50%. So the question is, after some dance around here, maybe test back here, because there are some gaps lying around here on the contract itself. So, come down, test here, hold this black line, solidify, the hammering, and then try for 5185. So if that is the path it wants to follow, then what happens here, 5185, so that's an important thing to watch. What's going to happen here is an inflection point, because, the question is it an M here, right here, and trying to pull back? That's one possibility. The other is this a bull flag and then trying to break out from here? And then if so, then 5185 would be your first target, and your full cycle 7569, and anything in between would be your targets going along. The other thing would be, I would personally watch is, like, if it is tested here wanting to go up, then what happens in this 5,000 to 5,200 range? What happens here would be an important thing. And when it will happen, that will also be an important thing in terms of timing, whether it happens immediately, or, we dance sideways, and then come down a little bit. And maybe just before election, we try to hit higher. So basically H1 versus H2, that kind of a thing, need to watch. And let's see, XPX, it's kind of an almost similar chart, but it is still, hasn't hit the all-time high. It was 4818.62, and so far we have crossed 4800, but just barely touched it. So, still another, it would be what, 16 points remaining, 16, 17 points remaining to hit the all-time high. And same story goes. So one thing to notice is, what I've been thinking is, there's a gap on the ES. And this one has to do a all-time high. So which one comes first? Will they fill the gap first for the contract, towards 4,600, early 4,600, and then go and this XPX and SPY makes a new all-time high, or this makes a new all-time high and we fade back to fill the ES contract gap? So that would be the thing I'm watching, with side, very, very short term. They want to do it probably, the tech earnings start after the January OPEX. Those 2 weeks of heavy earnings is the end of January, first week of February, and we have FOMC right at the end of the month, 30th, 31st. So that would be a time to watch where we are. If we are still hanging around here and we immediately tag 4150 on ES, and this also makes a new high, then will that be a fade the event and come down? That's there. And your NQ has already made a new all-time high. It was 16,767, and the new one is 17,165. So the question is, again, this, do they want to test this line here all the way here and then, launch higher? All this have, higher targets. So the next one would be around 18,000 something, then 27,000 something, then 2,200. So basically going all the way till 25,000. This is good to go, provided how these anomalies are resolved and which one gets resolved first. That would indicate the strength. So again, we ran all the way here from this low to this high directly straight on a weekly basis. So there's a lot of pressure still there. So how it does the cooling off will matter in terms of continuing up with strength. Continuing up, it can continue up even now, 100, 200 points, 500 points, no big deal. But the question is the strength. When you're moving up, see, when it was already down, all the pressure was released. So going up with strength was there. And, so this is a strength in the rally. Yeah, going down, there's strength in the downward rally. So likewise, right now it's a little bit stuck here. All the indices and most of the stocks are in the similar um, uh, state. Basically, there's a lot of pressure here. So either they resolve the pressure by pulling back and making space, or sideways, and then then try to move up. Otherwise, that exhaustion will not let it go too far. So that's there. Your YM, as usual, was the first to hit the all-time high because it's a leading indicator when it's doing stuff, either bottoming or going up. In 2022, I had mentioned YM is bottoming along with BA, right? So that was the combination. And since then, YM hasn't looked back from here. We had this sideways and then boom, it's doing that. And so far 38,000, sorry, is like kind of the glitch it is having. If so, then it will continue towards 40, 43. So this is like a Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is also at the same price. Your YM is also at the similar pricing. So they will go through the same kind of resistance or stuff like that. So your BTC, where is it? I know it had come down. Yeah, it's 42. So it went all the way till 50, barring 1,000, almost 1,000 points, a strong resistance on this line, and it pulled back, and it's now at 42. Yeah, 41. The low was 4,100. So yeah, 41, 40,000, then back to 37,000. That has been a stronger strength. Look here, see 40,000. It's right here, and it's trying to hold that. And below that, it's your 37,000. So your YM also is similar. In terms of numbers, they may not be exactly number, like matching digit to digit, but the bigger resistance, since it's in thousands, so it will be the similar, this thing, coming down here to 37,000. So basically sideways, pull back here, test this, or maybe test this, 35,000 something, 34 to 35,000, and then try to hit back towards 40, 43, 45, and then closer to 50. All that can happen, provided, this this pressure is, how it resolves this pressure, it'll give it strength to continue higher. Again, everything is at an inflection point, as you are saying. Is this an M, double top trying to come down, or this is something which is trying to break out and trying to hit at least 50% of the cycle, if not 100%. Now, your RTY is the most lagging index of all the four. And again, it is still trying to resist this 2100, 2000, basically. 2000 is the one. And then it tried to hit 2100 and it pulled back fiercely from there. So this is like gold. Your YM is like BTC, RTY is gold. So they both are in the similar planes, like RTY and gold is a pair, your BTC and your YM is a pair. They are in the same plane, traveling in the same plane, basically. Where is your GC? I think it was also in, okay, so GC did move, it did move out of this 1900 and still maintaining the 2025. It tries to come to 2025 and then it is pushing back up. So far, not able to take out this 2100. And still waiting on that 2100 to be taken out. One, two, three. This is the fourth, and haven't gotten out from here. And RTY is in the similar this thing, but if it resolves this, now currently it is below this red line, and we are looking at this early 1900s, and I think 1873, 1875. This is, let me draw this line wherever that is, 1900, 1875, or 1873. I mean, couple of points, it doesn't matter. This is an important line to hold. If RTY is coming all the way down to test here, or maybe it pokes a little bit lower towards early 1800s, this, it holds this range and goes back above 1873, give it plus minus 5 to 10 points as it is trying to move, because the numbers shift a little bit, if a lot of time is wasted in that zone. So if that 1870s is held, or if it comes down and tests 1870s and is held, this is going back to test this 2100 again. And of course, this head remains to be tested, and you have a lot of possibilities. It comes here all the way till 2400. So this is where your most, dough will be there. If there is a potential to make money, this would have a very good chunk. Let's say it comes down here, holds here, or even if it's hold here or holds in this zone, and the indices tries to fire higher, it has a lot to gain in order to test the high. So, this is your thing. Next is your VIX. VIX is, so far holding 12. It comes down under 13 and does this ting, 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 and then tries to go over 12. This is 12.3 to 12.5 or 12.6 is where this line has been holding. And it's a long, long time, this is kind of the golden line, see, for VIX. This is where your, it has always bounced. So if you see, it's dies down around till here, and it tries to, go sideways, and then it gives one big spike. It's a continuous pattern, comes down here, stays, one big spike, continues here for a few weeks, whatever, etc., and it spikes up. It does give a small spike at the minimum. So this is an average kind of a spike. Okay. So assume this is where your 12-ish is where it is holds, and the indices wants to test lower, contract gap filling and, testing lower, releasing the pressure, blah, 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 whatever. And this is also in the opposite direction. The pressure is on the downside, it has come down enough, and, want to release the pressure. So it has to move up. So this is your good place, it would want to move up from here towards, 2021, 18 to 21, 22, 23, also all the way till 25. It's a good number. So on an average, 20 is where, it generally spikes. This is could be a normal range, a regular spike, let's say, not fear spike, but a regular spike. And then it'll die down and the indices will reverse. So that is generally happens. But let's assume they were making a double top and this is making a double bottom, and you have your inflation coming back, you have your interest rates coming back, oil is there, the war situation is there, geopolitical situation is there, election is there, all the political drama in the world is out there. Then what can happen here is the question. So this is what I have done, and some of my followers and my subscribers who are there, maybe they also did the same. So I got some wicks for long term. I'm not at all looking at immediate. Okay. So from 12, so a few times it has gone below 12, 11. This was 2018, it has gone to 11. You know, and this is 2017 or something, it has gone to around 9. So very few incidents you will see where it has actually gone below 12 or 11. Okay. Which means we don't know if there is a possibility below this, right? So your best possibility is hugging around 12, a little bit up, down, that's fine. But, hugging around 12, and then a few incidents around 11, and then 9, between 9 and 11. Okay. We haven't, so this is an uncharted territory, uh, just like this is your uncharted territory, because once it goes here, we don't know at one stretch how much it will go. So likewise, we don't know if it wants to come back below 12, how much it would go. Will it go till 11? Will it go till 10? Will it go till 9? Or maybe make a new history by going below 9 to 7? That's a possibility. But VIX does have a tendency to spike big once a year, but definitely in 2 years. So my idea to get this, or rather accumulate in small chunks, is not for immediate at all, but maybe in a year or 2 years. Some commons, UVXY commons, some VXX commons, for that rainy day, surprise days when we wake up and something has caused this. So your portfolio is totally not unprotected. So those kinds, basically XPXS. Some of the ones for the downside protection is you don't need to have VIX products. You could go with XPXS also. This is at $11 now. And this is also in kind of, I mean, see, these are all depreciating assets, meaning they get their one full moon day once in a blue moon, right? So they'll go and they'll spike when there is extreme fear, and then, it'll keep coming down. So the best thing is, if you don't know when it is going to go up, but once it spikes and it spike, that it's going to come down. So probably, going long on VIX or going on these short products or bear products, we may not be able to time it right, but shorting them is always the right thing, because timing wise, because once it spikes big, VIX also spikes big, and it generally spikes in the end. People generally say, oh, VIX will do this and that, but it takes time for the fear to set in. Fear doesn't set in immediately, like, okay, market is pulling back, okay, everybody is expecting pull, because we ran 700 points. Everyone in the street expects a pullback, and how much it is going to do, when it is going to do, that's another story. But that's where the sentiments are, and those regular things keep happening everyday basis. But uh, when these bear products, they're going to spike, that we don't know, because there should be enough fear in the market in order for these to start rising. So let's say ES keeps falling down and it breaches a certain level, and it continues to stay down, and we have 5% correction already, and then it starts sinking in our heads, oh, you know what, something is wrong here, and it is not normal. And slowly that feeling sinks in, that something is wrong. Like you fall sick, you have a cold and all that, and it's fine, you keep working, and then you say, okay, the cold is getting bad, let me take some over the counter NyQuil or something, stuff like that. It doesn't get better. It continues. Then after a week or 10 days, you think, okay, you know what, I have to go to the doctor. Then he says, you know what, do this, do that, and you'll be fine. But still it doesn't happen. Then they put you on antibiotics. Then they say, okay, you know what, let's do a testing. And then in the end, you'll maybe find out you have some infection or a COVID or whatever it is. So there is a process by which the human mind can accept that something is not right or something is going out of normal. Going out of that normal, the human mind doesn't recognize it immediately. That's why your VIX always spikes in the end. When we are almost trying to bottom, that's where your maximum fear will come. Okay. So this is March 2023. This is the time your index is bottoming, and that's where you got the max spike. This is your um, March 20, yeah, this is this is weekly. Okay, yeah, this is weekly. So this is where we're in March. The VIX only spiked in March, whereas the index was falling from February or end of Jan, right? So that's why when, somebody had posted, there's a big bet on VIX, and they had bought, I think February calls or something like that. So I was like, first of all, in these big unusual activity, nobody knows whether it was bought or sold. Okay. Only, I don't know if there are flow traders or not, but somebody who's actually looking at the transaction, who has the capability of looking at the transaction, which are not definitely people who are churning the data, that is the people who put out the DPs and all those, not those people. They can make a guess by doing the data analysis, but they also don't know whether it was bought or sold. It's only the analysis of this must be this must be this. So even if it was bought, first of all, you have to answer the question, was it a hedge? Were they trying to protect the portfolio? Suppose the portfolio was 25 million worth. So for 2 million, were they protecting the portfolio? Because you cannot leave your 25 million out there unprotected. So if you got a couple of million of hedge, that's absolutely fine. Because if you're out of 25 million, if you're going to make 40 million, then minusing 2 million out of that is not a big deal for big funds. So if we are trying to bet on that bet where the person bought 2 million worth of VIX, suppose assume he bought it, and if we are buying it, then the question is the VIX going to actually spike around that time? And then second is it going to give me the same return? Because VIX generally has a very high IV. Okay, so let's say VIX was 12 and it spiked to 18. So first day it may be fine, but is it actually going to give you the RNR which you had thought in mind in terms of balancing your portfolio delta to delta? So that is what mostly people don't put into calculation. Is this protection actually a real protection or not? But for me personally, this is what has generally worked. I may not have gone long VIX too many times. I hardly go long on VIX generally because I know it doesn't reward that much unless you have commons and all that stuff, and you want to keep it. But I have always shorted it, and that's always a guaranteed trade. You know, it spikes, it stays for a few days, maybe a few weeks, a couple of weeks, and then it always fades down. So if let's say March 2020, it was there. So I had bought some September puts or something like that. It will always fade. But it all depends, because at this time, your IV to fade puts or buying puts will be so high that it won't reward. So generally, I have played this through butterflies. Buy butterfly here, put butterflies here for 5 cents, 10 cents, or 25 cents, with some idea of a target. Not necessarily that may happen, but around there. Let's say it spikes here and it spikes to 20 or between 20 and 30. So my short strike would be around there. And if it comes here, then you buy back the short strike and then write the puts back. that can happen, or or at least remove half of the short strike so that you have puts plus PDS. That way, some IV balancing is important if you're trading VIX. Okay, enough about that. Ah, your TNX. Oh, okay, I have something here. So TNX, this was around here when there was some bullish divergence which had come. Not here. This is very low. I think I had started tracking down here around here only when the TNX was there, and when it was here, 4 point was it 4.95 or 4.85? I don't remember, but around there to 5.2. Actually, in my thread, there are exact numbers because it trades in 3 decimals, so I don't remember the exact number, but around 5.2, 5.3-ish. This was where I was expecting it to do. I know, I think it was 5.2. I was expecting it not to go over that number, or at least get rejected the first time, because that was an important crossover, just like RTY we had around 1873. So it happily rejected around 5, and then boom, it came down, and you got your October to December Santa rally, and now 3.9, yeah, 3.9, it is holding, and I had this path. It'll spike up and die down, which gives us the melt up in the markets, or it tries to go up, test this back, and continues up, which means we are developing an M in the market. So that's what it was. I was thinking basically this is the inflection point, right? So at inflection point, we have to watch which side the camel wants to sit. Okay. So this is there. Your 103 has been your, kind of line in the sand. Above this, it turns a little bit bullish. Below this 200, has been in a tight range, holding your 100 for quite some time. It hasn't gone. 99 point something was, yeah, almost, yeah, half, 99 and a half was where it had poked, but since then, it's there. So again, what happens above 103 or below 100 is where your DXY will be there. If it goes above 100, then a little bit of pressure will get added. If it tries to go below, then it's all good. Your oil. Now, oil has been in a tight range for a long time. It hit this 130.5. Now remember, this 130.5 was hit in a Globex, which means it can do anything over here, but once it will come back and spike and hit that 130.5 during your regular trading hour USA time. And it's when it's going to do, I don't know personally, timing wise, but the geopolitical conditions are setting up in a way where the oil can come back up. Okay, so 78 to 67 is your very good support range. 67 is your 67 point, let's just say 67 points is okay. 67 hold on a weekly basis is bullish. Capturing 78 will throw it off on this side, and that becomes extremely bullish. So let's see if this wants to do this. Okay, so this will be your oil, trying to do that. But from here, it goes back up and tests and comes down. That is also a possibility, because this is where, trying to test here and then comes down to around 50. So this range, because it had opened up another number. Say, let's say it breaks 67 and tries to stay below 67, then hitting this lower area becomes a good possibility for this. Then probably it would mean that the world order is okay. People are not fighting, and the human element is okay in the world. Let's say that, because oil is not just something to run your machines on, it is more of a geopolitical power struggle as well. So, who has the most oil control will be the more powerful this thing. So at the end of the day, it's all about that, your petrodollar. So just watch what it's, this should be green path, and this should be your red path, how it's going to happen. Your NG spiked, as we were expecting, but it's still, you know, in the similar consolidating range around 3. Nothing has happened around 3 so far. So it is here, and this has been a stronger resistance, because once it crosses here, your next spike will be till 4-ish something, between late 4s to 5. So it can be a very big jump. So watch what happens between 3.3 to 3.4, 3.5 or 3.6. Then you have some possibilities into entering this zone, because this is your minimum. It can go, that is 4.7. Then that's a very, very big jump for natural gas. Okay, so that is there. What's another GC? Yes, your gold. Gold is, as I said, RTY and gold, they are in the same plane. 2100 is a problem. 2085 to 2100 is a problem. It did spike till 2052, but boom, it came back. So it is neither going above 2100, nor it is coming down, as of now holding 2000, but it's not doing anything. So right now, this is your tight range. And look, here it first went, came down big. Here it first went, came down big. Here it went up, came down big. Now it is still here. The question is, will it also come down here and test lower? How much lower? We can, you know, think about it later on. If that is the case, then somewhere around 1800. Oh, remember one more thing I forgot. Gold GC, not gold, but GC futures has a gap around 1848 or 1858, if I'm not wrong. That contract gap has not filled. So if it wants to do that, waste some time and come and fall on this line around 18, when it reaches 1848, somewhere here. So I don't know. This can take quite some time, or it can immediately come down and fill it right away. This is what 1823. So your 18, that range will be around here, right? So watch for that, you know. So above the, below this line, then the possibility or the probability of filling that gap, the contract gap, becomes higher. But right now, this is a pressure cooker. Yeah, pressure cooker. So the one, it will have one of the outcomes: go above this or go below this. So this is there. Okay, so we did cover the most stuff. Now this is the one which has been talked about the most: Tesla, what it is doing. So I had done the space on 2 days ago, I think 2-3 days ago, and we talked about this. At that point, Tesla was 230 or so, or very close to 230, and 223.2, you know, is an important, very important hold for it on a daily basis. Okay, so anything below it, it makes it weaker. So I'd said, you know, if it is hitting around 223, then there's a good possibility they'll bring it down to 218, because the they always break the important support most majority of the times, and you know, maybe stop out everyone below it. So 218, that's where I was expecting. It came down on Friday, but it's hanging. But you have this black line, 223 to this 203, 205. This was your previous clusters from where it has bounced back, 203, 201. So that's an important line to hold. And this black line will matter how it is trading with respect to it. Not immediately, but after the dance. After the dance is important versus when it is first hitting. Okay, so your major supports and resistance at the first cut is never a guarantee. It will always accept, or it will always reject. It will spike. You'll see, oh, suddenly there's a big spike, you know, or suddenly it hits that and it falls back. So your important ceilings are always reacted. It's that law. You throw a ball and it always comes back. So it's like that. So once it has tested, retested, hammered, 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 and after that, where it settles, that's when you decide it's bearish or bullish. So never go never assume the first cut when it's happening. So I'm okay for it to come down to 223 to 193 all the way. 193 here, to see how it wants to test this zone, hammering the zone, and then what happens. Let's say it comes down to 218, or even mid early teens basically, and on this line somewhere here, and then it goes up, tests something, and then if it is settling below 223, then it'll give me a worry that, oh, Tesla is this thing. But otherwise I would think of getting long on this one, among all these numbers. And one of the things to notice is they are bringing it down before the earnings. Okay. And of course, as usual, Tesla is does Tesla, Musk, they're always in talks. Musk definitely for his talks. So this is one of the things. So this stock generally have lovers or haters. There's hardly any rationality about it. So, but we only trade price of what it is doing, when it is doing, how it is doing, versus being a fan of either Musk or Tesla. So that is there. So let's see what happens around, between 223 to 193. It'll give an opportunity to assess, where it's becoming bearish or bullish from there. Yeah. So this is there. So, is this a bear flag to pull it down? Hold on. This is a bear flag, for example, or this is your bull case. Okay. So this is where the descending point will be, how much of the retracement it wants to give for this low to high. Currently, I think it has come to uh, uh, not bigger retracement, but it is on this demand, this demand. It is there, and it is coming all the way till here. Okay. So this would generally be around your, what do you call this, line in the sand or something, but you have this structure. So unless and until this structure is breached, you won't have anything falling below it. So coming down here, that's why I said bringing it down before the earnings, coming to the levels, testing the levels. Is it fooling anyone and everyone out there? So just watch out, watch my numbers when I post, when it happens. And your Apple did well, actually, uh, did a new all-time high. So your last time was here. This is your original. So 182.13, 182.194, it left 6 cents on the table. It didn't hit 183. It pulled back all the way. And only later on, it hit in June of 2023, it hit 183. It reset the cycle to 361. So anytime in future, Apple will have a target of 361. When, how, what, that's another story. Okay. But right now it hit 198. So originally around here, I'd expected it to go to 193 to 198. We got that. But see, this path is never a good path, because it did here small consolidation, but this is a straight line. And when Apple does this, it gives back half the move, which it did as per its basic behavior. Let's just say it did that. It came down. Now it went back again. If you notice, most of your stocks are having this structure. Why it didn't come properly? Either this is an M to come down, or it is, to 225. 225. Okay, yeah, somewhere 225 is your next target, around there. About 200, there's a lot of possibility, but the major stuff, right? So as I said, we are at an inflection point where it's in no man's land, meaning with authority right now, we cannot say whether this is a bullish setup or it's a bearish setup. If it is a bearish setup, then how long, how far? That thing is there. And if it's a bullish setup, then how long, how far? Would it help for stuff to cool down a little bit, especially the indices? Apple has come down a lot, and uh, it is kind of resisting 186, 187. It hit that and it pulled back. So actually, there was here something, yeah. So I had put this out. So it was like around 7, 8 days. It was doing it here and nothing happened. It went here and it tested, because after that it had to go and fill up this gap. So one of the two possibilities it can happen. It pulls back down here and goes a little bit lower, or there's an island reversal possibilities. It goes and hits 191 and then comes back and fills the gap below to this line of 186. That's a good possibility. But if the time runs out, if it becomes more than 7 to 10 days, then the possibility of island reversal almost dies down. So then you will definitely, not definitely, sorry, those are wrong words. It may come down to test. Otherwise, the most conservative path would be, tries to go up slowly and fills the gap. That is always the case. So it's there. I had posted down a few days ago about BA when it was around 163, 165. I had seen it at around 153. And then ADBE, I saw pulling back 50 points when it was close to 600. And I posted out that, is this real, or did my eye see it in my app? There's a picture of the app I use. It's a very, very old app, totally unsupported, but apparently it's magic because after that, your BA came down, your ADBE came down. So somebody had traded around those, very few transactions maybe, but the print was there. So 2 or 3 days ago, maybe earlier this week, not this week, yeah, earlier in the week, I had seen Apple at 196.11. So let's assuming third time is also a charm, hat trick. Um, we may see Apple go to there. So, nothing certain about it, but I'm just hoping that I am becoming psychic. That's all I wanted to deliver the message, guys. I'm becoming psychic. Okay. So your MSFT. Oh, this is daily. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So your MSFT also via a cup and handle made a all-time high. I think this was the one of the first one to make the all-time high. And your 346 is there. I think this gap is not filled, if I'm not wrong, or if I remember correctly. This is 366 around, and then your 370, 380, 377 is your this thing. And it again made a new all-time high. I didn't notice it, or what? 39. Oh, it went to 390. Dang, I had call. I went out early. Shit. Okay, sorry. Excuse the bad words. Okay. So this is 391, very close to 400. And the dance to change the digit uh, is always there. Before it does anything, that the dance is always there. Dance or dance, whatever. So it is always there. And, so this was apparently your bull flag, a very, very shallow pullback. And see this, your Microsoft, how noisy it was. And finally it gave in, but it gave in very less. Okay. So as of now, your RSI did cool off and it's trying to go back up again. And, the price is also going up on a bearish divergence, right? So this would be a bearish divergence. Okay. So then, how long, how far it can go, before it wants to, cool off. But this has been the most strong stock out there, among pullbacks. This had the least or the most shallow pullback among everything else. Okay. So that indicates strength. Your Netflix, hard time going above 500. And you know why? Because of anybody? Because of this. Okay. It's because of on the left side, it has to overcome this structure, because a lot of supply here, right? It's not one day, it's months, so many months. Like this is July 2020 to it's 1 year. 1 year of supply is there. So it's a very hard journey. Basically, it has to it needs a lot strength in order to go there, to overcome this, from this box of 460 to 571 or 568. It's a very tough journey. So when in my last video, I had mentioned this with ES and with BTC also, give an example of a lion, right? If you go back and look at it, it's that when you are posed with a lot of supply on the left side, how does it cover the journey? Is it very strenuous, slow, sideways and up, sideways, then up, or it sees a lion on the left and it runs? Its earning is coming. So do we see 100-point move on this one, at least till 570, the upside of the rectangle, or you get a nice pullback on this one towards below 400 or at least 400? This would be like, if it falls down below 450, then you have all this range opened up for you. 375, 3 something to here. And this, what's the high here? 419, 420, 423, 490. So your 420, 450, 423 opening all the way. The earning is this month, right? The earning is this month. This is January, end of January. So 450, 423 opening all the way till 330 is there if it wants it. So now this will all become your demand zone. This is all your supply zone, what it does. So I'm thinking of getting a strangle further out in time for this, because 100-point reward can be there on this one, but this thing on options is so costly that nothing is coming. A good, decent strangle is not coming anywhere below 20. So for me, it feels it could be costly for an earnings play. So I'll see if I could devise something more complex, not complex, but a spread basically, to see if I could get a reasonable price, but still be able to capture the bigger move. So, but again, buying time is the most important thing, not playing the move. Okay, the move may not come immediately because everybody's eyes would be on these bigger things and you may not get the move. So always buying times few months out will have a big probability to reward. So Fangman T, we had Tesla, we looked at everything. Who is remaining? Meta. Your Meta. Actually, my battery is getting down, so I'll do it fast. Meta 375 is here. This was 384. 384, I thought. Yeah, 384. That's why your red line is here. What happens around here between 371, uh, uh, you know, 371 to 384, what happens around here will devise. Again, your 400 is again close by. So will it not? Will it not? That will be the question. Again, your Meta had a big run, straight line. Right from here, it captured this supply in one go. And now it is at the all-time high. And only the only resistance here is the all-time high. Above this, it could spike to 400, 401, but a failure from here, will it bring back to 356 or early 300s, or below that to, 250-ish zone? So that's what I had put out in my thread, which I had posted maybe Thursday or so, that what happens around this 10-point range, or even if it spikes to 400, 401, what happens there? Will it assume it as a supply, or there would be something more to it? See this, all quarters, whatever it. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters, and in 4 quarters it gained back immediately. So this is the best V recovery you can ever have in any stock. Actually, look at this. So it broke out of here. This was 191, 195, whatever, late 90s. It came there, but it tested all of this, and spiked a little bit. So around here, 78 or so, there was a pattern on which it had run for multi-year, not few months, but multi-year. And again, just like Microsoft, it was heavy, so it came back, gave all the gains back, and now it is going back. So the question will be, is this a bullish breakout over here? This is your yearly. See, 1, 2, 3 years of consolidation distribution. I don't know, but one big red candle and you got your green candle and it is above this. This is 343. So as long as your price is above 343, you are okay. But the moment it closes below this, you know that it is entering your supply area and there is some weakness developing in, and then you have something. So always go back to your higher time frames and see what they are saying. You'll always find a clue there, what price is doing, why it is stopping there, why it is not stopping there. So we have covered the whole fragment, the growth stocks, but my battery is dying down, and I promised it will be a short video, but then I started talking. So let's just keep it there, short and sweet. And one thing I will ask you as a thank you, as a favor, is to like my tweet, to retweet it as much as possible, and also leave some comments and tell me how did you like the video, did it make sense, and all that stuff. It's nice to engage because it's a lonely world out there, and I'm a numbers gal, so I only talk numbers. I don't do the girl talk or any other talk for that matter. So and the only other things which I put out is the food tweet. So, some engagement helps me to be out there. Okay. So thank you for your time. And my battery is low, about to die. So it is there. So have a good evening, and may the new year brings you all the good stuff. Thank you.